Hello, I'd like to open up the session on tools and techniques by addressing systems. I love this quote from James Clear in his book Atomic Habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This is important for individuals, but more so for organizations. Organizational systems are the individual behaviors, your group routines, your processes, your procedures, and whatever technology that you use for automation as well. So, for example, if you have a goal of hitting or getting 200,000 customers, your prospecting process and committing at least, let's say, 2 hours a day for your team to do that prospecting, that is the system that will enable you to achieve that goal. And your ability to achieve that goal really entirely relies on the effectiveness of these systems that you are establishing. So you want to ensure that you implement correct, effective, and user-friendly systems that everyone is willing to adopt. Another quote from James that I like is he even says that true long-term thinking is goalless thinking. It's not about any single accomplishment. If you establish the right systems to begin with, it's all about that cycle of endless refinement and continual improvement of those systems. And then that will enable you to keep delivering on those goals, right? Systems keep you on the right path, especially when results are not immediately attainable or observable. And you'll find that often in sales because sales is relationship building. It's not something that you can see overnight. Yes, some interactions will convert immediately, but often most transactions take a few interactions in order to convert. So you want to ensure that you have the right systems in place. So when it comes to systems, a common debate is the effectiveness of flow versus systems. If you haven't heard of flow, it's basically flow state theory, or in other words, being in the zone, right? If you are a writer, if you have writer's block, that is a lack of flow. I think there's a misconception that flow and systems cannot coexist. That when you have systems, you have structure, you have routine, you have a schedule, and that limits creativity and productivity. I don't think that's the case. People believe that once you get in the flow, it's really difficult to get into the flow. And once you're in the flow, you should try to avoid being disrupted because interruptions will kind of put you off track, and then you don't know when you can easily enter flow again. I don't think that's true at all. I think if you use it correctly, systems can actually help you more readily enter flow. So let's explore that a bit more. So number one, when you are thinking about a schedule, you want to work with, not against your schedule. Your schedule doesn't always have to be the typical 9 to 5, right? If you are a night owl, tailor your schedule to suit yourself and maximize productivity during the late hours. Yes, there will be certain activities that will require the regular morning schedule because let's say if your prospects are awake in the morning, you need to be doing certain activities in the morning as well. But when it comes to that, you want to ensure that number one, when you're building around your schedule, whether you're building a night owl schedule or a regular schedule, you want to try to ideally tackle tasks that require the most energy, like making important decisions, doing things that you're uncomfortable, doing the cold callings, those kind of things, drafting proposals, contacting key prospects, when you have the most energy. For most people, this is typically at the beginning of their day or beginning of their working routine. But that's not always going to be the case. Maybe for you, it may be later in the day after you've had a workout and you feel a bit more energized, or maybe after you take a nap if you have a siesta, right? So there's nothing wrong with those kind of schedules. Your schedule doesn't always have to look the same. The second thing is to recognize that one requirement to enter flow is focus. And when you enter into flow and you feel like, I need to burn the midnight oil because I'm already in it. And if I stop flow, I'm going to lose the ability to be as productive anymore. I don't think it's worth it because the crash that follows is not worth it. You are mentally fatigued. It's a lot harder to re-enter flow again, right? If you have a schedule, yes, it might mean that you will have to cut productivity short if you are in flow to get the rest that you need. And I think that's totally fine. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. The long-term benefits outweigh those short-term interruptions. If you consistently follow a schedule, your biological and mental clock will start to recognize when it's time to work, and you'll more readily enter flow when it's the time to do that specific work that you need to do. You can even build a routine that leads up to or primes you into entering flow. So like taking a cold shower or drinking coffee, whatever have you, that might be your trigger to get into the flow state.